As the world commemorates AIDS Day, South Africa has launched a major clinical trial of an experimental vaccine against the AIDS virus, which scientists hope could help save millions of lives.
Hope sits on the horizon. More than 30 years of efforts to develop an effective vaccine for HIV have not borne fruit. But for the first time since the virus was identified in 1983, scientists think they have found a promising candidate.
These vaccines have been bioengineered in the lab. They are not actual HIV. They are not pieces of HIV. They are not weakened parts of HIV. But they have been bioengineered or made in the lab to look similar to HIV. So when these vaccines are given to potential participants, hopefully they will induce an immune response which would be able to provide protection against HIV.
The new study, known as HVTN 702, will involve more than 5,400 sexually active men and women aged 18 to 35 in 15 areas around South Africa over 4 years. It is one of the biggest clinical trials involving the disease ever undertaken and has revived hopes of a breakthrough in the battle against AIDS.
Our main target is young girls and young boys, adolescents, before they reach their sexual debut. And we would like to look at a school-based program. And so one of the things we will be doing at the same time as we execute this trial is start to investigate the immunogenicity of this vaccine in other age groups.
Participants in the vaccine trial say this will bring more hope in the fight against the dreaded disease.
In our community, a lot of people are HIV positive, and I decided to do this trial because of the rate I see in my community and the people around me I live with. I've already started educating others and I've already brought others here, and so I understand that it's a long process to do, but 36 months is nothing.
South Africa has one of the highest rates of HIV infection in the world, 19.2% according to the UN AIDS Agency, with more than 7 million people living with the virus. Bureau Report, ANN7.
South Africa still has one of the highest HIV infection rates in the world, and although strides have been made to curb its spread, local NGOs say more needs to be done. Zinhle Mgandi brings us this report.
This is Thulile Kuzwayo, a 25-year-old from KwaZulu-Natal living with HIV since birth. She says it's been a difficult journey as the stigma had made her childhood almost unbearable.
What was difficult for me as a child, everyone knows that every child would like to go out and play with other kids. But since my grandmother told the people who I used to live with around that I was living with the virus, no one wanted to sit next to me, no one wanted me to play with their kids. So it was very painful because at that time I didn't know what was happening.
After her mother died from the virus, doctors said Thulile would not live to the age of 7. But years later, she credits ARVs with prolonging her life.
We don't have a cure now, but the only thing that can suppress the virus are your ARVs. You have to take your ARVs according to your doctors or your nurses or your counselor's instruction. That's the only thing. And you need to be positive about yourself and be positive about the life itself. Because if you are not positive about your virus and about yourself, nothing will change. You have to be brave and be positive.
Kuzwayo has since opened her own NGO to help spread awareness. Meanwhile, another activist believes men need to play a role in curbing the spread of HIV.
We're not following the rules, but condomizing, sticking to one partner, and going for HIV counseling and testing. So basically, we're not following the rules and we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing, especially us young men. Young guys don't go for testing, and culturally we're prone to have multiple girlfriends, or which means multiple sexual partners. So eventually, it is going to spread because that's what HIV wants. It wants us not to confront it. It wants us not to follow the rules, and it wants us to do all the things that we are doing in KZN, which is not right.
According to a recent study, about 2,000 women are infected weekly countrywide. Now, as South Africa celebrates World AIDS Day, people are urged to go and get tested, know their status, and stop the spread of HIV. Zintle Mgadi, ANN7 in Durban.